Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sister Jumoke.
Dear patriots and change agents, welcome to the Nigeria Leadership Series Town Hall, a proud subsidiary of the Africa Leadership Group, powered by the Tri-Africa Empowerment weekly virtual town hall, where renowned thought leaders and engaged citizens come together for meaningful discussions that spark ideas, promote responsible leadership, and advance good governance for our beloved nation. Hosted by Pastor Uzoebo, President and Founder, this series reflects his vision, which is to promote the emergence of real, ethical, and accountable leaders for good governance, not just in Nigeria, but across the continent. We are a non-religious, non-partisan, non-political organization powered by people just like you, individuals whose vision align with ours to drive sustainable development across Africa. At the Tri-Africa Empowerment Foundation, we believe Nigeria's diversity, our cultures, ethnicities, and tribe is our greatest strength. Through initiatives like the Ito Olajide Godalo Real Mentorship Program, project management courses, and the Civic Awareness and Citizens Engagement Programs, our School of Leadership and Governance offers stellar opportunities in leadership training, capacity building, and social development. Under our Community Development Initiative, projects like Feed a Neighbor, Feed a Nation have reached over 2,000 families facing food insecurity across 6 states. Our recently commissioned Hope Alive Fund is designed to empower and support entrepreneurship in underserved communities. In collaboration with civil society partners, we are building a coalition for participatory governance that works at the grassroots level to strengthen good governance and effective administration at the local government. We invite you to join us on this journey as we lay the bricks one at a time in building a resilient and formidable Africa. Please join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. West African time, live on Zoom. The meeting link is the same, simple, consistent, and open to all. Also, stay connected and inspired all week long and follow us on all our social media as posted here. Mark your calendars, invite a friend, and let's grow together. The Nigeria Leadership Series Town Hall, building leaders, celebrating unity, and shaping
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Just give us a minute. We're trying to admit our guests and make sure that our video and audio is working. It's good to have everyone with us this evening. We'll be getting started very shortly. So bear with us while we do the tech check. Thank you. Hello? Where is Mr. President? Pastor is not in. Ah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Faye, can you make our guest? Okay, you've already made her co-host. All right, we are admitting everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's NLS. Okay, Pastor Sonny is in as well. We're just waiting for our host to come in. And so I'll just go ahead and get us started, and Pastor would take over as soon as he's able to join. We've been having some network issues. So our guest today, I'm just going to read her bio out to us and just introduce her. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This is Mrs. Uche Uzoebo, and she is the MD and CEO of Shared Agent Network Expansion Facilities Limited. And she's going to be speaking to us today about agency banking and citizens empowerment. And I think at times like this, it's a critical tool for national development. Mrs. Uzoebo is a seasoned business executive and financial service leader with over 2 decades of professional experience in banking, digital payments, and financial services, including more than 15 years in senior leadership roles. She's the managing director and chief executive officer of Shared Agent Network Expansion Facilities Limited, Nigeria's national shared infrastructure initiative for accelerating financial inclusion through agent banking. She's a proven change agent, and she brings deep expertise across digital payments, financial inclusion, agency banking, products and business development, merchant acquiring, and corporate commercial and retail banking. Her leadership has been instrumental in advancing secure and inclusive digital financial services, strengthening payment system, and expanding last mile access to financial services across underserved communities in Nigeria. So thank you so much, Ma. It's good to have you with us. Thank you for accepting our invitation to speak with us this evening. And Mr. President will be joining us shortly. But I just, on behalf of all of us here at Africa Empowerment Foundation, just wanted to wish you a good evening and thank you so much for joining us. So based on the topic that we'll be discussing today, and I'm sure Pastor Sonny, who is the first vice president and also co-host of this program, has some questions. We're talking about agency banking and citizens empowerment as a tool, and it's critical for national development in terms of advancing our community and building the nation. So speak to us about what that means. Someone is listening to it, and agency banking and citizens empowerment. What does that represent and how does it work?
Thank you very much, Jumoke. Thank you for having me, and I'm really excited to be here. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Am I very audible? Can you hear me?
Very, yes.
Great.
And the lighting on your camera is excellent.
Yes, thank you. So I was just rounding up an event, or rather a retreat at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Of course, where we're driving, discussing initiatives on how to move the country forward. And financial inclusion, agent banking is also part of what we're discussing to see how we can continue to use that as a form of empowerment and also addressing the financial inclusion gaps that we have in Nigeria. So permit me, if I have a short presentation, that I could share the slide, if you don't mind. I could do that.
Yes, you are co-host. You can share the slides. Yeah, we've made you co-host.
Yeah. So, yes, okay. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Can you see? Okay. Have I been made the co-host so that I could share the slide?
Yeah, you're co-host, so you
Oh,
can
all
share
right.
the slide. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Can you see my slide? Everyone can see that. Okay.
Yes, we
So
can.
good evening again. And like I said earlier, I'm excited to be here. This is one of the topics that is very dear to my heart. And thank you for having me. So I'll first of all talk about what we do at SANEF, even though you've given a brief intro. So SANEF is an initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria that was set up in 2019 to address the financial inclusion gaps in Nigeria through access points. And when you say access points, creating more access points across the geopolitical zones to be able to serve the populace. You and I know about the brick and mortar bank branches. So in the past, people in the villages couldn't access financial services. They have to travel to where you have a traditional bank branch. And looking at that, the banks couldn't also continue with building those brick and mortar bank branches. That's where agency banking, was an initiative that was brought up to address the gaps. So today, what every common man knows as the POS agent, that is actually what agent banking is. And I'm going to be speaking about how this is a vehicle for poverty eradication and citizen empowerment while addressing the financial inclusion gaps that we have. So you ask, what is agent banking? Agent banking basically means giving access to a business owner, banking access to a business owner to be able to provide the basic banking services to people in the community, so that the last mile will be able to be banked. Okay, it has become a critical pillar in addressing the issue of inclusion and also deepening access to formal financial services in Nigeria. Like I said earlier on, from the initial stage, from when the regulators brought up the initiative to the current status where the ecosystem that's made up with the stakeholders, which cuts across the deposit money banks, microfinance banks, the fintechs, the mobile money operators. These are the people that are actually licensed to drive this initiative. And for us at SANEF, we work with them because we're the enabler of financial inclusion to ensure that we have this financial access points across the 774 local government areas in Nigeria. And today, I could tell you that we have over 2.5 million agents across the 774 local government areas that we have in Nigeria. So what that means is that when you get to any local government, you will find a bank, and the bank is that agent. So today, the agents, are the ones that open accounts. They serve as payment points. People can pay their bills and have access to the basic financial services that people that go to the traditional banks also will have. So over the years, agency banking has evolved from what we know as, people having to have the marble halls, the fancy branches, to wooden kiosks, from the air-conditioned branches in different locations to the roadside agent points where you would need to do some transactions or you need cash, then you'll be able to give you that. And of course, from you are not bankable to you are now empowered. Now, who are these agents? Agents are people who ordinarily have small businesses that are running. It could be that they have their mom and pop shops, and in that community, because they know them in the community, so they can also be onboarded to have the banking license to serve their community. So today, that has also created opportunity for people to be employed, and with that, eradicating poverty and reducing unemployment. Even students today are agents, are POS agents, because even within the school community, they want to, students need to buy their airtime, they need to withdraw some cash. You have agents who are also doing that and using the money that they're making from it to pay their school fees, to pay for their handouts in school, and also buy little provisions for themselves. So in the past, the focus was just access, having the access. Access means the bank branch. You have to have the payment point, like I said earlier on. But today, beside that, you have people who ordinarily couldn't even have a bank account, but they've started having the bank account as well. Today, we have moved beyond the access to inclusion because we're including them, including that mama in that remote area, even as far as the northern part of Nigeria, including the people that ordinarily, when you tell them to make transfers to your bank account, they'll tell you they don't have bank account. I think you agree with me that in the year 2022, when we had the Naira redesign, when the cash crunch came about, there was no cash. And what happened? People were also forced to open bank accounts. Even the people that ordinarily, maybe they're selling fruits and all, they will tell you to give them cash, but everybody now, started having bank accounts, because that also brought about that inclusion that we're talking about, because they too understood what it means to have a bank account, to be banked through the agents, and agents were also serving them in their various niche, in their various communities as well. So of course, the future is empowerment. So through this, even philanthropists have used this agent banking to empower their community. Let me take it back to the COVID-19, 2020, the year 2020. Everywhere was on lockdown. Nigeria, businesses were not running. Even the banks were not open, but the agents were there to serve you and I. Payment and collection was going on because we needed to buy food. We needed to buy airtime. We were keeping up to date. People were having to have sessions online. Churches, religious, everything was happening online. And you needed data. And how were we getting all this? Aside the banking application, people were also going to their neighbors who now were agents to be able to get this access. And now another thing that happens is a lot of businesses shut down. Businesses were not moving. So some people who already had businesses went into this agent banking. So that's also a form of employment, the source of income, so that they will keep going, at least even have the basic needs. I remember places like Aba, the traders, of course, the markets were not open, people were not selling, but most of those people now became agents so that they'll be able to serve the populace. And when you become an agent, for every transaction you carry out, you earn a certain amount of income, and over time, that builds up. A lot of philanthropies also wanted to use it to empower people back home. When I say back home, so places like, let me talk about the Southeast. Instead of every month they're asking you, oh, give me 20,000 naira, give me 50,000, how long will you keep up doing that? So what they also did was to use the opportunity to use agent banking to empower the community. And when you empower these people, what happens? You bring life to the community, and everyone is doing well, including the youths that are there, including women. Even women, they'll be able to take care of themselves, even at the comfort of their homes. They will also be operating their own POS to the people that need the services, and also make some money. So what that creates is that it creates job for people, and they stop becoming burden, to whoever that is their sponsors, or even be able to give back to the society. And that gives them even presence. It gives them a form of sense of belonging to, their own community. So the role of agent banking in reducing poverty, like I said, Nigerian poverty rate is at 40% below national poverty line. And agent banking provides that access to savings, even credit and affordable services. It supports even the medium and the medium entrepreneurs, and of course the citizens. By doing that, people can plan, because you have certain amount of money that you're bringing in every month, so you'll be able to plan, you'll be able to save and even invest, and thereby reducing poverty. And you also be able to onboard other people, because impact is very important. As you are enjoying that, you'll be able to also impact on others as well. Now, so speaking to this slide, I'm going to talk about the socio-economic impact of agent banking. I've already picked some points that I had spoken to. One, increasing the financial access across the nation. So anywhere you get to, you will definitely be able to do a bank, carry out a bank transaction, even if it is in my own village, far back in the east. When I go, I know that I don't need to carry cash, because when I get there, I know I'll be able to find an agent who will be able to assist me conclude any financial services that I want to do. Of course, it reduces transaction costs. The agent banking has cut down, transaction costs and transportation costs. I know that the closest bank to my village or somewhere you have to travel like at least minimum of 45 minutes. So imagine then and now. So that's time that maybe the woman that is doing her business or you're selling something in the market, you leave your comfort, your market space. One, you're also losing customers to go to a bank branch to perform a basic banking transaction or to withdraw money. But today, all those ones are history because by the next building or the next shop, you have an agent, you have a bank beside you. Low income empowerment. It also provides accessibility to deposit, withdrawal, and payment services. Like I said earlier, you can deposit money, you can withdraw money at a minimal cost. Then women financial inclusion is also one of the initiatives because, like I said, remember that the gender, we also have to balance the gender and, of course, driving women inclusion. A lot of women in the underserved area, particularly in the north, when you get to the northern part of Nigeria, because of the cultural barrier, the women will have to serve their fellow women. So now what we also do is that ensuring that we onboard female agents so that they can serve fellow female. And of course, while doing that, even at the comfort of their homes, they're still doing their day-to-day chores and being the mother they are, taking care of the children, as well as making income for themselves. I was talking about job creation. Of course, behind every terminal that you see, there's a business owner who is earning daily income. From that business you're doing, your main business, you have footfall, and you're also an agent, you're a POS agent. The family, they have stable income. So you know that at least minimum of every month, you have a certain amount of money that you're getting. The youth who choose not to, go into the proper professional employment or waiting for when any company will call them can also start up that business as well. Like I said earlier, a woman can balance her household care with economic, contribution, because when the woman is also an agent, you'll be able to contribute and also have your own presence in your family. And of course, financial inclusion growth across the nation. Now, let me use a case study of Kenya let me compare Nigeria and Kenya. So when you come to Nigeria is a bank-led country. And of course, statistics have shown us that that the percentage of financial inclusion, according to EFINA, is leading to 74%. And this couldn't have been possible without agent banking, without the POS terminals. It wouldn't have been possible. Of course, the financial service providers made up of the deposit money banks, microfinance banks, the mobile money operators, they were able to bring this basic banking services to the underserved and also the unserved. Now, talking about Kenya, I'm sure if a lot of us read about Kenya and the M-Pesa model, which is telco model, they heavily, they rely on agents. If you go to Nairobi, that's what you will see. You will see them all over the place. They demonstrated the mobile money and agents network for payment. So you get to shops, even big shops like where you sell like sportswear and all, that is what they use. M-Pesa is what is very, very common in Kenya. To be able to, they use it to transact a lot, but M-Pesa is a telco-led. When I say telco-led, that's the telecommunications arm of it, unlike Nigeria, where we are bank-led. So the banks lead this agent banking in Nigeria. So for the global view of agent banking, if you look at the slide, we have different countries and all, and the number of agents per country, you will see that. So the number of bank agents that you have. So if you take a look at Nigeria, the statistics is at February 2025. So the number of agents by bank, because you have by bank, that's deposit money bank, and you also have other agents where you have the mobile money operators, the super agents. And when I talk about mobile money operators and super agents, you talk about the likes of OPays, the likes of Money Point, the likes of PalmPay. These are the people that we refer to as the super agents and the mobile money operators. So as at February 2025, last year, that's almost a year ago, we had over 1.9 million agents. Then the total number per 100,000 adults. So what it means is that the number of agents that will serve 100,000 adults at any point in time. So we moved from 62 agents in 2017 to 1,966 agents as at December 2025. So as at February 2025, we're at 1,847. So what this means is that for a populace of 100,000 adults, almost 2,000 agents will serve them. So you find out that we're getting there, like the agents are being spread across so that people won't really need to go far for them to be able to perform the banking transaction. Now, of course, the financial inclusion rate year on year in 2023, as the last MEPINA report, is at 74% compared to other countries. You could see 87% in 2018. So I want to believe that we have also done well in terms of the achievements, but even though we still have a lot of work to do. And while I was starting my presentation, I mentioned that I was at a retreat with the Central Bank of Nigeria, and this is practically what we're discussing, how we're still going to use this channel to eradicate, poverty, to use it to empower the citizens of Nigeria and to reduce unemployment. So what are the opportunities to leverage on in the digital space? Of course, agent banking operation is one. You earn commission from the business, constant commission, even even if you don't even have any, at least once you transact the minimum transaction, at least you will get a commission of about 100 naira, 200.
Is it my network or we can't hear her? Because my network is also, can everybody hear or is it my network?
We can't hear her. We can't hear her.
Okay, so it's because I think she's frozen.
I think it's our network.
I'm sorry? Okay, she has signed
I
up.
think
Can you
it's
please
our
follow up
network.
with her? Yeah. It is interesting. I didn't know POS banking agent is a fancy name for POS people. So that's a good that I think I like that description of them. What I wanted to ask as a follow-up is, there's a lot of POS agents all over
Can
the
you hear
place,
me?
and okay, yes, now we can hear you. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I think just some technical glitch, and I don't know where I got thrown out. So
I think we only lost you for maybe like less than a minute before you got thrown
all
out.
right.
You were here talking about opportunities to leverage and
Yes.
empowerment.
Empowerment. Okay,
Yes.
so I was talking about agri-tech and health tech and logistics. So through available APIs as well, you could connect sellers, buyers, and sellers. This is already happening today. So I can have someone who is selling maybe the hair product, and you have another person who is also selling hair. So you could connect them. You have a tailor who makes clothes, and you connect the tailor with someone who makes fabrics as well. So with this, you have adequate supply chain. Then, of course, in all this, you can't have all these sweet things without talking about fraud management and social responsibility, because for any good thing, you also have the risk. And that, again, was part of what we were discussing here. So, of course, fraud remains a significant challenge in Nigerian financial ecosystem. A lot of people are they're very skeptical about that. Oh, my money is going to get missing. A lot of people have had also bitter experiences when it comes to fraud. So, and in order to address the challenges, when it comes to frauds, we have to identify the identity and card fraud. Very important, because also some citizens are very we have vulnerable people, but that's why the communication and awareness keeps going out. You have people where people are cloning debit cards or using authorized personal credentials. And of course, the advice would be people shouldn't give out their information. A lot of people do that, and even when they collect back their cards, they don't remember to change, their pins. Of course, there's also phishing and cyber scams. That is very, very common as well. Fraudsters, they impersonate bank or agents to steal formed or sensitive information. You have the digital payment frauds, fake apps and all. So of course, going to the right, having to identify the right site when you're transacting or when you want to go online. Then the human vulnerability, which I also talked about. So based on the cybersecurity report from 2024 to 2025, human element remains the primary driver of cybersecurity breaches, accounting for approximately 60 to 95% of all data breaches and fraud cases. I'll give you an example. Nigerians, a lot of people also like freebies. You'll see, you just receive a message and they'll say, oh, you have 1 million naira, just like that. Click on this and set why, So again, we also have to be very careful. The first thing to do, call the contact center of MTN. Oh, is this what you people are doing? Or even go to their website. So that human vulnerability has been there. Also, when people go to the ATM, maybe they're having issues there, and then you're talking to someone and they're asking you, give me your PIN or give me your card. All those, we have to be very careful. You're not allowed to, of course, give out your details or even allowed or tell somebody, oh, that is my PIN. So help me withdraw the money, okay? So we see these cases and all, because so most times it's always the human vulnerability. Then also breaking down the responsibilities. You have the bank and the fintech. So how do we address this? Having to do the proper KYC, know your customer implementation, is very important. I'm sure when we all want to open bank account and other certain questions they will ask us, you have to, then the banks will continue to also recertify their customers. When your ID expires, you receive all those messages, your ID has expired, they will ask you to replace it. Customer education, financial literacy is a continuous thing. With that education, because every day a lot of things are coming out and we have to keep educating and creating that awareness. Providing secure digital platform, very important. And of course, for the agents, they will identify suspicious patterns and report suspicious transaction. Somebody can come to your shop and the next thing, you well know that the card the person is holding is not the person's card. And also when you notice such transaction, you should also, flag that up. And like they always tell us, the banks, the financial services will send out messages to protect your PIN, password. Understand that no bank will ever ask you for your password over the phone. This happens all the time, but humans will also be human because you always want to fall, to it. We all know about the WhatsApp and when they clone your WhatsApp message. These are even learned people. I've had one of the chief judges fall into this trap and all. So yeah, they could tell you, oh, there's a Zoom meeting, and most times it's actually maybe when you're distracted, you're not paying, so much attention and all. But the thing is that it's better you delay than, fall into that trap. So successes, challenges in agent banking journey. Agent banking has proven incredible effect in reaching the underserved. Yes, these are the successes. There's nowhere, at least I'll tell you that there's nowhere you will go to now and you will not see a POS agent. So everybody knows what it is. They see the agents. People don't even go to the banking halls again. So that's even the success of that aspect. Created jobs for people, job creation and economic empowerment. The cost-effective service delivery. It has reduced the cost of serving as well. Then shifting customer behavior, the convenience offered by the agents. It has significantly reduced the need for customers to visit crowded banking hall. And in most locations in communities, they know that agent because the agent is part of their community. Now, the challenges, the primary operational hurdles, these are basically operational hurdles, which are also being addressed. Liquidity management. So for an agent sustainability is important because that's why the agent should be in one form of business or the other. So agents, they often struggle to maintain sufficient cash to meet the customer demand. So that happens. So, but if you have your continuous business, that same person that is buying things from you and bringing cash, you use that for your payout. Security and fraud risk. So they're often a target for fraud, including fake transaction, even fake notes. So this also happens. And of course, there are also policies guiding that and the do's and the don'ts for the agents. Then agent misconduct and ethical issues. Some of these agents fall into all sorts of, they want to dabble their hands into all sorts of fraudulent or ethical issues. So that again, is where the continuous education comes in. And of course, streamlining and putting checks and balances to know who is the real agent and who is also not the real agent. Digital literacy. Digital illiteracy, yes. Many customers are familiar with the mobile app and digital financial products. So you will see this in very remote areas because they don't know. So the agent will capitalize on that as well, you know, to be able to defraud them. So in call to action. So this speaks to what are we to do? What's the next step? From the access to inclusion, from inclusion to empowerment, the power is in our hands. So we'll continue to support the agent banking as a tool for inclusion and empowerment and growth. Is not going away. The federal government also uses it as a tool to create jobs and empower youth, encouraging our youth and entrepreneurs to see it as a viable pathway to economic independence. I will take it back to when I finished school. When I finished school, I was really looking for that, you know, white-collar job, seeing myself working in the oil company, in the mobile and all, you write applications and everything. But today, I tell you, people make millions. A lot of agents have set up branches for like different branches for the with agent banking because people are transacting. Then also ensure that the as financial services expand, no one is left behind. We must continue to include people, especially the underserved and the excluded, to also be included in the financial service system. So these are just very few call to action, which has always been there, and we're still, you know, moving towards that direction and even more. So in concluding, agents banking as a tool for poverty education is not an abstract thing for me. It is something that we, you know, that I live and breathe, you know, today. It is a lived experience. If you see, we all know, we all have relations, we all have friends, we all have them as customers today. Agent banking is not merely a delivery channel, as is often described. It's not just for us to take cash. It has become an economic equalizer. Agent banking decentralizes financial power. It dismantles the financial appetite where rural and low-income populations were effectively locked out of the engine of growth. But today, they see that they're now part of the ecosystem. It says to the farmer, also the trader, the artisans, the youth, and the woman in that rural community, you matter, you are visible, and you are included. So on this note, I want to say a very big thank you to the organizers and also the audience. And if anyone has further, you know, questions, or you want to become an agent, you could actually go to our website, SANEF, or you reach me on any of my handles, Uche Uzoebo, and we're able to continue the conversation there. Thank you very much. Thank
you very much for this great presentation. And I also just want to use this opportunity to acknowledge all our youths, ALG youths. There are quite a lot of them that have come in to this platform. So thank you all for joining, and I'm sure you got a lot out of it. I have some questions, and the way this usually goes is we'll engage you in some questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience if they have any questions. And then the follow-up will be with you directly. We can post your contact information for them to be able to follow up with you if there's any interest. I have, you know, it sounds like a great success story, but here is my concern. You talked about underprivileged communities, and they're the ones that probably use this the most. But there's also a fee for them to use the services. And I was somewhere where a lady was trying to get, I think, 1,000 naira. And she needed to pay 100 naira for that 1,000 naira or something like that. And for someone who was looking to withdraw 1,000 naira, 100 naira fee was a lot for her. I mean, that's what I suspected. And so, you know, I think a couple of us there rallied around and just gave her the 1,000. And this is a lot of stories across. Those that really need it the most have to pay heavily for it. And then there is another myth, and I'm using the word myth, that agents or bankers now have POS agents and then tell people when they go into the banking hall that there isn't cash or enough cash for them so that they can go out to the banking agents and withdraw money at a fee. So those are some of the concerns that I have if we're trying to really, if this is a tool for national development and economic growth. There are some people, the most impacted are the ones paying the price for this. And my second question is, do we have statistics of how this has impacted economic growth in the nation? So, and then I believe Pastor Sonny will probably have some questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. Yes, so thank you very much. So regarding the fees, so there are standard fees for this, but again, the agents have they put laws into their hands. So that's one of the things I'll say. And towards the end of last quarter, last year, the CBN released a new guideline for agent bank, which will address some of this, if not all, the issues. So effective April 1st, we're going to have what you call exclusivity for the agents. So with that, the whole essence of it, because when you get to an agent, one agent can have like 6 or 7 POS terminals and they belong to several mobile money operators. And what will happen is that you're only going to belong to one. Now it's for accountability and transparency, because if you have like 4 or 5 or 6 of those, you cannot be able to track exactly who the person, you can't hold the agent accountable. So if Uche is working for OPay, Money Point, First Money, Access, if anything happens, they take Uche, are they going to take Uche with a Money Point or Uche with OPay? So that's one. Again, there's also going to be the geo-tagging of terminals in such a way that, because most times the agents, fraud will happen, or like maybe there'll be a decline and they will leave the location where they are. The next thing, they're in another state. So the moment you leave like a 10 meters perimeter, that POS terminal will not work, because we also need to protect the interest of the consumers. So that's why all these the policies are being reviewed and all. Also, costs. That's the costs you talked about. They are approved costs by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And supervision and monitoring and compliance is something that I'm not joking with. That is why I'm even at this retreat, because they're taking it very seriously. Because the consumer trust is very important, because we need to protect our consumers, because they are always the ones that are affected when you have such fraud. So these are some of the measures that have been put in place to address what has already happened. Yes, the agent banking is good, but there are also some loopholes here and there that's making that man in that window not to really be comfortable transacting as well.
So one more question following up on this transparency, accountability, because it's important, right? And you talked about that there are regulatory issues or regulatory requirements. Who enforces that for the banking agents?
Is it from my end? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well. Was I the one breaking up?
I couldn't hear you. So
okay.
Yes,
no, my question is, who enforces the regulation or enforces compliance with whatever the requirements CBN or the industry has established for the POS? Those that are most impacted, which are those that underserved or underprivileged communities, who do they complain to, and will they take their complaints seriously?
Right. Yes. So the Central Bank of Nigeria regulates them. They also supervise that, and they also put the compliance in place. Now, in Central Bank of Nigeria, you have different departments. You have the Consumer Protection Department, which, if you remember, last year, January, when the new directors were appointed at the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Central Bank governor was charged with a new cost. So this issue is one of the ones that are very dear to their heart. So they've been able to reform. They've been able to also have some good measures put in place. So, for instance, I'm aware that the Consumer Protection Department, they are having a digital portal where individuals will go and complain either digitally or even the hotline and call. And of course, with that, there will be transparency. Whichever institution that is the culprit will also be called to order. That is why that exclusivity I spoke about matters. So what has happened is that if I'm a principal, so principal means an institution, and I onboarded Jumoke as an agent, and if Peter complains, they're not going to chase Jumoke. It is me, the principal, that institution, that will hold liable. So that is why they have to also ensure that the KYC for the agents and also going through what they are doing and all the monitoring processes are in place. So now the institutions will be held liable. Unlike, before, when someone goes to the bank and you complain, oh, this was what happened to the agent, they will tell you, go and look for the person. No. So that is what all those new policies would do. That is why, because they did that for accountability, for proper monitoring, also to safeguard the consumers, so that the consumers will not also lose the trust that has been built over time. Because the truth is that we want to bring them into that's the last mile, the underserved, the excluded. We want to bring them into the financial service sector, but they should also be comfortable transacting when they come. So the responsibility is on the Central Bank of Nigeria. They regulate, they issue the licenses, and they regulate the players as well.
Thank you so much. And there will be like citizens education on these new policies. There will be
Yes,
great
so
campaign
that is
for
where
people to know
SANEF
what they are.
comes in, because SANEF, we also offer financial literacy, because we
Perfect.
also work with Central Bank of Nigeria. So we offer financial literacy to the communities, training them as well as the agents. Now there's also going to be agent certification. In fact, we entered into a tripartite agreement with CIBN and FIC to certify the agents. It's also going to be one of the mandatory requirement for you to become an agent for both new ones and existing ones, because when they're certified, they need to understand what they're doing, and continuous training is something that is very, very important, and we'll also be doing that.
Yeah, I think that's very important because it's a powerful tool to have in the hands of someone that is not that has no financial literacy or understanding. So I like the fact that you're going to be the CBN and organizations or agencies such as yourself would be educating customers. One last question, and I'll ask Pastor Sonny if he has any question. Pastor Lou, before I open it up for the audience, I have a couple of hands up. So these terminals, these banking agent terminals, they have IDs, like unique ID. If I go to a POS that is faulty, maybe I get, because I've had this happen to some people where there is double transaction. Is there like, should they be looking out for like a specific identification for that POS to know that this is where that transaction came from?
Okay, so every agent has a unique, you have a unique code. So with that code, we're able to, of course, to know who the agent, because when the agents are also supposed to brand their location. So with this new model of exclusivity, so if I'm a Money Point agent, you will see there, branded that person is Money Point, and of course you know where to respond. And if they have maybe a decline transaction or charge back, the process is there. You log it with that agent and it gets resolved. So one of the things that we have also seen is that awareness has to improve, because the masses don't know most of these things where to go to. And that is also last year, again, Central Bank of Nigeria went around the geopolitical zones, having the consumer education, even in the markets, in the remote places. They did in Lagos, went to Kano, Kaduna, Calabar, Enugu, creating that awareness. They've also become more stakeholder facing, they're not just the people sitting back in the office and just doing the regulatory work. They're also going out to see what is happening for themselves, and also relating with the masses to let them know that, look, we're here. There's a complaint portal, there's a complaint email address where you can also throw in some of the challenges you're having. Aside the bank's contact center, the Central Bank of Nigeria, they also have theirs, and it is thing I will tell you that they are taken very seriously and they don't joke with that. I'm at the retreat here in Abuja, and these are some of the things that we're discussing. And I can tell you that they're not going to leave any of this unattended.
Thank you very much. And I think that's that's an opportunity for organizations such as ourselves, that when we go out, if we have fact sheet that we can include too in our citizens' responsibility and awareness campaign. So if you have that, please go ahead and share that with us so that we can also share with our groups and network.
Yes.
Pastor Sonny, do you have any questions before I open it up? You're quite popular. There are a lot of hands up already. So Pastor Sonny, go ahead, sir.
I think she's very popular. She's brought her own crowd and everything. Well done, Uche. That was a very, very good presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Sonny.
You spoke very well and you spoke passionately about this. However, let me just ask this one question so that other people can ask. The issue of anti-money laundering. How are you handling that? Because quite a lot of people can go through these agents to launder money. And so are there any framework that is being put in place towards that? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor Sonny, for that. So to start with, the agent location, agents have permissible businesses that they are to do and also unpermissible businesses, as well as the transactions that they can do and the limits that they have that they cannot do. So when you talk about money laundering, that's where the KYC comes in. That is why for an agent, there are requirements from the principals, because the agent don't just come up on their own. They are being onboarded by the principals. So the principals are being held accountable. So for instance, if you get to an agent location and they want to withdraw money, they have set the parameter in such a way that you cannot withdraw certain amount at the agent location. So these are part of the things that, even their daily limits, these are part of the policies that have been reformed on the agent banking guideline. So they will not be able to do a certain amount of transaction. Today, when people go to agent locations, they don't even sign off the registrar. So if there's an issue and they tell them to bring the log, you will not see it. You won't be able to see anything. So monitoring and compliance is one of the things that CBN have started, doing. It's been there, but they're enforcing it, because that is also a way where both the players and even the agents can, get away with so many things. Okay, so the anti-money laundering, when someone goes to an agent location. So for instance, if my card is being stolen and someone goes to agent location to use it for a transaction, by the time they record, put it in their logbook, don't forget that they will also review it. And if I report for that, because that card was used in that location and it was recorded, when the case comes up, they'll be able to know who the transaction, the transactions are there. They see it in the data report and know which particular agent and which particular principal, and it's the principal that will be held accountable. That is why the principals will have to, they will have to scrutinize the type of agents that they also onboard going forward, even the existing ones, because by the time the new policy takes effect, you will notice that a lot of people that carry POS around will not be carrying POS around, because they're not the people that are supposed to be the agents involved, because everybody now wants to become an agent because you know that you can make money. Meanwhile, you're not even properly profiled to do that.
Thank you. Let me allow Jumoke take the questions, and we'll be back to talk later. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So we have 6 hands up, and the way we usually do this is we will take them in batches. We'll take like 3 together. I would also try to help jot them down in case you forget anything. I just want to also apologize to you guys if I kind of like enforce the 1 minute 30 seconds rule, is because we are trying to keep to time. We do appreciate you asking questions, but we want as many people as possible to ask questions. So sometimes if we do come across like we are trying to insist on that 1 minute 30 seconds, is because we want others to have the opportunity. We value your time here. We respect you, and we are grateful that you're here. So please do not be offended. when we do enforce that. And we do have a lot of youths joining us, so they probably would have questions. We want to give them opportunity to ask questions as well. So go ahead, Mr. Stephen, with your question. We've asked you to unmute. Are you able to unmute? Stephen, please go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Oh, thank you very much, Auntie Jumoke. I've been able to unmute. I want to say a big thank you to Madam Uche for being here. My question is this.
Can you hear
we know
me?
Kenya
Is it
we
from
know
my
Kenya
side?
has. Can you hear
We
me?
can hear you. We can hear you. Yes.
Kenya has good stories in terms of agent banking and citizen empowerment. We have a population in Nigeria where we have over 150 million people below in the bottom of the pyramid. And during elections, some of these people can be
Stephen, I
swayed.
think your connection is a bit.
No, we can hear him. It
Mr.
may
Stephen.
be yours. You may want to turn off your camera. I think it's your connection. Go ahead and turn off your camera.
It's your connection. We can hear him clearly.
Oh, okay.
No, we can hear Stephen, but she couldn't hear him. So
I
that's
couldn't
what
hear
I was
you, but
saying.
I'm hearing you now.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now? Auntie Jumoke,
Yes.
my time is going, so you have to restart my timer.
Okay, I'm going to restart your time. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Uche. The question I'm asking, Kenya has a good story to tell in terms of citizen empowerment and access to financial services. In Nigeria, during elections, we have people who are swayed with 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira. How can agent banking help to empower people enough to be able to turn off some of this? Because poverty is a major deterrent and it's something that a lot of political leaders leverage on when they go out campaigning. And we know agent banking, I mean, you people have done well from little as 100,000 to about 1 million or two plus or minus. Do we see a future where agent banking can empower Nigerians enough for them to be able to say no to some of this 2,000, 5,000 sway that politicians use? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Henry Kentebe. King Henry, please go ahead and ask your question. We've asked you to unmute. Ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, Auntie Jumoke. And Madam Uche, thank you for joining us today. My name is Henry. I'm joining from Toronto, Ontario. I think the CBN in Nigeria, they have abdicated their responsibility of regulating the commercial banks and managing and regulating individuals. Before I left Nigeria, POS was used for retail businesses, but I don't understand how we've gotten to the point that everywhere, every corner you have banking. It is wrong. It is unheard of. And that is why our money supply in the economy has grown from 19 trillion to 120 trillion today, because instead of the POS to be mopping up cash in retail businesses, it's creating more cash in the economy. Everywhere, every corner that you have a POS guy handling cash. And I don't even know if NDIC has any insurance for you. It's not fraud, is not the problem of this POS business. It is armed robbery. People get stabbed, people get shot just for 20,000. They get mobbed by criminals, by hoodlums, by these area boys, just because of cash handling that they are doing all over the place. I think it's wrong. It's unheard of. It's against global best practice. You can't go to London, you can't go to New York. You have POS machine. It's used by businesses all over the world, not for banking, not for individual banking. CBN should stick to their responsibility of regulating commercial bank and government bank, reduce inflation, reduce money supply, and reduce foreign exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We can tell that you are very passionate about this. So we are going to have Bashir, please go ahead and ask your question. And then Ms. Uche, you can take all three together. Mr. Bashir, please go ahead and ask your question. Faya, can you also help unmute people, please? Thank you. Please go ahead, Bashir.
Okay. Good evening, Ma. Good evening to everyone.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. From the presentation, it's a very wonderful presentation. And when you were talking, something came to my mind, and I'm intending to ask the question. Like, the goal of the SANEF is inclusion, impact, and the whole lot. So there's a book I read called Banker to the Poor by Mohammed Yunus. It's about Bangladesh and the model of microcredits empowering the poor and the likes. So using this POS factor, like it has created, of course, inclusion of the unbanked and everything. But the issue is that the services it renders, it's of course very important, but it's not broad enough in the sense that it empowers some people, but let me say those who, even from the first question that was asked about how it can reliance on what's it called, the election, and like during time of politics, 2,500 naira. If this model is adopted of using this initiative and then maybe enabling microcredit through these platforms, I believe, is it feasible? Is it doable? It worked in Bangladesh and other places adopted it. Is it something that can be done also? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Uche, with those three. I will take the next. So we'll take Pastor Funke, Ungozi, and Abubakar as the next set. Is Ms. Uche still here? She came in. Okay, we've asked you to unmute. Sorry. Go ahead. Can you unmute? Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yes, and we've also made you co-host. Please go ahead.
Because I was trying to unmute myself. Okay, so let me start with the passionate gentleman talking about the POS, that they are now everywhere. So if you recall when I was speaking, that towards the end of the last quarter, the Central Bank of Nigeria has released a new guideline for agent banking to address all these issues. And one of the main policies there is that they're going to start having exclusivity of agents. What does that mean? Today, you can have one agent carrying 10 POS terminals, 5 POS terminals. So effective April 1st, that will not be happening. In fact, all the processes are being put in place from the time the guideline was released. It was released last year, November. So these are the measures to sanitize, to address some of these issues that is happening. So what will happen will be that you're going to have number of agents reduced. The essence is not for the agents to reduce, but you're going to have a number of agents drop off. Now, you will also have the real agents be the agents of the principals. So if Uche used to be an agent of 5 principals, I have OPE, I have PAMPE, I have Money Point, come April 1st, you're not going to see that. Because when you have multiple of all these, you have them, that is what creates a kind of confusion in the system. And it will also remove the chaff. They're also going to have a lot of recertification. All the terminals are being certified. Today, NIBS, they've already started that. I also mentioned Joe fencing and Joe tagging, which they've already started doing. The MD of NIBS was also at this retreat. So what that means is that people cannot be moving terminals. Uche cannot leave Lagos. In fact, I can't even leave Victoria Island, where you have law school, and take my terminal to Adeola Odeku. It's not going to work. So these measures are being put in place so that you can identify the agents will be able to be in their locations where you said you're operating from. You'll be able to identify them. So this revised agent banking guidelines will address most of these issues because yes, you're right, because some of these agents, even they use the POS terminal for kidnapping. They will even rob you and tell you to get your card and you have POS and you should do transfer. So all those things, of course, they all the feedback went back to CBN. They're not sleeping, they're working. And if you agree with me that in 2023, there was a reform of the Central Bank of Nigeria with the new management and all. And I can tell you that the current management are working tirelessly to address all these issues. That is why that policy came out. If you go to the CBN website, you will see it. The players have already started readjusting, and gone are the days when you're looking for the agent. So if you go to an agent and the agent is exclusive to Money Point, and you have issues, it is Money Point that they will hold liable. Nobody knows about the agent. Reason being that will make even the principals who onboard these agents to know who they're onboarding, to do the due diligence properly. Just like account opening. When you want to open an account, it's not just anybody that walks in and opens the account. The banks don't have the responsibility to do the due diligence. If anything happens and all, CBN will sanction the banks. So that is what is going to start happening. Come April 1st, that will be put in place. Also monitoring of the portal, transparency, even the fraud that happens in to the agents. All these are things that the framework will address. Okay. Then I think the second person, Mr. Steven, talked about, is it Kenya? I think his own was a comment, not more like a question. He was making a comment.
He did point to the fact that in terms of how can it help curb politicians' malpractices with vote for cash. I mean, that's how I interpreted it.
Okay, so the agents have cash limits. They have cash limit. So today, an agent cannot do more than your cash limit per individual is 100,000 naira. And even the cash. So when we talk about cash, the agents are not the ones that get the cash. The cash comes from the deposit money banks. The agents don't know the way to the vault. They're not the ones that CBN delivers money from. So it goes to the banks that give the cash. Again, that the limits issue will address the issue of them having cash. And we're also trying to move away from cash. That's the truth. The digital payments are there, even USSD. Because when you go to the ATM, if you notice that ATM, there are also some limits. Because what used to happen is that people will go to one ATM, they're collecting money, collecting cash, and build that up. All that, because by the time you pay all the charges, it will stop. In fact, one of the things that were even proposed here was like, even if I have the money to pay, but you have a limit of that cash, and it won't even be able to dispense the cash anymore. Because an individual, how am I coming? Because it's the same card, it's the same name, and maybe in a day, I'm going to ATM, visiting ATM, and I'm collecting 20,000 naira, 100,000, and I'll do it over 5 times, and that's 500,000. So these are also some of the things that they've seen in the market. They too have gone to test that, and they're revising and revised. They've revised and continue to revise the policy to address some of these concerns as well, and that will reduce, that the cash that dominates, that dominates the country, that is everywhere.
I think Bashiru's question was on the, I think he used the model, can't remember the country. He asked about that model. I think he talked about Kenya. I think, was it Morocco? Bashiru, what was the country that you were asking?
Yeah. Bashiru, are you still here?
Bangladesh.
Thank you, Faye. He asked about the Bangladesh model. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Okay, that's a good suggestion, but let's not also forget that yes, some of these models are models that yes, we've taken note of, but we also have to play it and marry to our own what is obtainable here in Nigeria. Okay, so like I explained in Kenya, when we talk about Kenya is telco led. It's the telecommunications that are leading. Unlike Nigeria is bank led. So the model there may not necessarily work the way it's working in Kenya, in Nigeria. So we also have to look at some of those factors when, but of course, those are some of the things I've noted, like in India, the model of using your ID, your identity, equivalent of NIN to open a bank account, that's where it started from, because there was a time also that visit was done, the cross cross-education was done to also understand how they're doing that. And today, with your NIN, you'll be able to open a wallet account, because we also have to look at the pros and cons, how it affects Nigeria. At least you can open a wallet account with your NIN. Then by the time you're moving to the tier 2 account, you're required to have your BVN as well.
Thank you. So let's take this last 4 questions. We'll take them we'll group them into two questions. I'll take Pastor Funke Awolowo, and then I'll take Sister Ngozi for this next set, and then we'll take Mr. Abubakar and Auntie BC. So go ahead, Pastor Funke, with your question, and time starts now.
All right, thank you. I'm not going to sound disgruntled. What I've observed with this POS rise is that it was accidental, the growth of POS, because during the last elections, there were, practically no cash anywhere, and it really did help. But what I'm saying right now, because we've had 5 decades of banking, and we know that this is the easiest era actually in banking. And what it has taken away, getting money from the corner shops everywhere, is that it has taken away confidentiality which is needed in banking. The fact that everybody knows how much you're taking, and all that, by the way, it's not so dangerous, because it's there are people that you recognize as well. But what are you doing? I like the fact that proximity is being taken into all the plans and all that. People don't have to pay so much. Everywhere you go, you can get the money, which is an advantage, and I'll say well done. But what are you going to do to opt? Because you see, it's only for the everyday people. When you want real cash, the big cash, you can't get it from them. And so, is it just for the lower strata, or do you have futuristic goals, to up the style and to make people not so snobbery? Because you see them, all around. Sometimes you think twice before going to collect cash from them. But you see, it has worked, and I must say congrats. But what are you doing? Because you said that you're revising it. Let us know more, so that people can have more confidence in what you do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have Sister Ngozi please go ahead? We've asked you to unmute. Is she still on? Ngozi, please go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute and it said the host will not allow. So I'm sorry. This is Dr. Ngozi. I'm calling from the United States. I just wanted to piggyback on Sister Jumoke's initial question at the beginning, which I hope you address this time, the issue of fees. If someone collected 1,000 naira and she's been asked to pay 100 naira out of it as fees, that's 10% of that money. I just want to know, are there standard fees? And if that 100 naira is standard, then I think that's exorbitant for the poor man in the street. And if it is not standard, is there any way of making what is standard public, so that if I go to get that 1,000 naira and someone asks me to pay 100 naira, I can challenge that person and say, no, that's not the standard fee. This is a standard fee, and that is what I'm going to pay. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you take those 2 questions?
Yes. Okay, so let me start with Ngozi's zone. Like I said earlier, I don't know when you joined, that there are standard fees approved by Central Bank of Nigeria. Is also there on the CBN website. So, because what has happened is that as much as the agent, depending on the location where you are, they are not also supposed to be overcharging people. So again, I will keep mentioning the revised. I wish people can read that. Maybe I can send that to you. There's a revised policy that is addressing most of these issues, even what Pastor Funke raised as well. So these are the things that are in the new framework. It's been published, but it will take effect April 1st. So that is what will address all these issues, because it's not as if they're sleeping. So the new framework was published and it will address this issue. So there's pricing. Pricing is also one of them, so that the exorbitant pricing will stop. Then because there are so many of them and, competition, one person will have like 4 or 5 principals POS terminal, and that, causes a lot of competition and all, but now it's being streamlined. So if I go to one principal that I'm exclusive, if I go to an agent that is exclusive to one principal, you'll be able to know this is a person that is doing that. Even if the person is charging above, you know who you're holding, liable, and you're able to sanction that. Even the sanctions are not even minimal for the players. So I'll repeat that again, that the new agent banking guideline, which has already been published, but it will take effect April 1st, took into cognizance all these shortcomings, all these issues, which would streamline the problems that we're having in the agent banking space in terms of in terms of the fees, of course. There's also complaint management email. There's also a number that escalation can go to as well. So that is what the guideline has, because it took time. The guideline reform started since 2023 or 2022, but finally was published last quarter of last year for it to take effect April 1st, 2026. So that will address these fears. Then Pastor Funke talked about confidentiality. So I'm just struggling to understand when she's talked about confidentiality. I'm struggling to understand what, the part you're referring to. Is it that when you go to POS agents, is it that they have your card details? So when you talk about confidentiality, I want to understand what you mean about that there's no confidentiality anymore. So if you can expatiate on that.
In terms of your details, when you go into the bank, sometimes you have to go into with your bankers to expose, your details and all that. And for the local person to know, because they can check your balance, they can do other things, and that openness is what I'm factoring in.
Oh, so an agent is not just anybody on the street. So we need to understand that. An agent is a representative of, you have a banking license. They don't just wake up. Just like the way you enter any of the banks, GT and all, and their staff is there, they have your details as well. But they are working on behalf of the bank. Because you enter the banking hall, you want to withdraw money, they're seeing your balances, they're seeing everything. They know who deposited money or not in your account. That is also there. So that is because the moment we start looking at an agent, because we see them on the street, so we look at them as these people just wake up and they just start doing transactions. No, an agent has a banking license to carry out the basic financial. And they also have their limits. They have basic services that you cannot go to an agent and say you want to place your money in fixed deposits. So the agents offer basic financial services to the populace, withdrawing money, and there's a limit. And the accounts are most times like the tier 1 accounts that they open the accounts for. So you and I, even if I'm going to an agent, I'm not going to go to an agent and say I want to withdraw 1 million naira. I'm not going to do that. He won't even allow them to do it. So we need to also understand that these agents have banking license. They are being onboarded by the licensed mobile money operators or the super agents at CBN license. So they are to hold them. They're not just people that just, woke up and went to register and started doing their business. No. So that's who they are. So they have the right to do that. They have the right they can check balances for you in your account. They can do transfer for you. They can do bill payment. Then you buy airtime. And also open the basic account and do funds transfer. That's all the agent is allowed to do. They don't do more than that. That is the businesses that you do. It's right there, even on CBN. What can an agent do? It's very clear, the business, what they can do. They haven't become the proper bank because, in the bank, the proper bank, you have a corporate banking, you have other transactions that they do beyond the basic services. So the whole essence of the agent is to address the needs in the communities or the areas where you don't have the brick and mortar bank branches. And the essence of that is that the banks didn't want to be spending over $500,000 building all those beautiful, just to offer a basic services because they're not going to have return on their investment. And they said, we also need to include these people into the financial system. They need to save their money rather than putting it under the mat. If the house, the hot gets burned, or if the armed robber comes, they will, they will steal their money or they will lose their money. Why don't they also give licensed bodies licenses to be able to onboard agents? And the agents also are required to have the right KYC. Before any principal will onboard an agent, they do the KYC. What is the KYC? Know your customer, who is an agent. There are basic things that they will ask them. If you can also remember, last year, when the CAC said that every agent
Okay. Is it her or is it me? Because my network kicked me out too. So, can we hear her or is it me? Faye.
I think it's her.
Okay,
She's
it's
out
her.
actually.
Okay, so we'll wait for her to get back. We have 5 hands up. These are definitely the last hands that we are going to take for this session. We have Auntie BC, Mr. Abubakar, Ebubena, Mr. Badamosi, and Sadiq. Those are the last hands that we'll take as soon as our guest comes in. We will not be able to take any more hands, so we apologize for that. Faye, please check if she's in so that we can make her co-host. And bear with us. I did not even know that POS operators can see your bank balance when you do transaction with them.
No, they can't.
They cannot?
No, they cannot.
Okay. And then, also, some of these operators are not the ones that are licensed. The ones that are licensed now give it to the operators that go to the market. It's not the licensed ones that are in the market carrying POS around. So that's
but I
the
guess what
question.
Henry was really trying to say is, we created a policy going cashless during when Sanusi was, and this POS thing, instead of encouraging cashless, has sort of like boosted a more cash economy. So it's a bit of a counter to what, if we encourage more of the merchants to have POS and let people pay with their cards rather than bringing cash, then it will help that process better. Anyway.
Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, because I noticed that because it has infused. We are no longer cashless. We are now heavily cash
Even
based.
when you go to some of these big shops, let me not say big shops, some shops, they will tell you there's a POS at the corner there. Go and take money and come and pay us here. And you can easily have a POS yourself. Anyway.
In the shop. So it's all part of, so she's back in now. Faye, please make her co-host as soon as she comes in. She's under Uche so that she can speak more to it. Okay. Okay, she's back, but her microphone is coming on. It's been a great time here. And I just want to thank the ALG youths. I see quite a lot of them here. So good. I'm so glad you guys could join us this evening, and I hope this has been very informative for you. And you are the generation of leaders that we're looking to take this country to the next level. So you are in a good place, and look forward to working with you to really achieve all we are desiring for Nigeria.
You are the ones that will make it happen. So, Madam Uche, you're back.
Okay, yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
That's the network, Nigeria and our and our network. So, yeah, so I was talking about awareness. That one of the things I'm taking away from this is that there has to be more awareness. How the information has to flow, communication, more awareness in around what is going on. So it seems as if a lot of people are still not aware of a lot of things that that are being done, are being put in place. So that is one of the things I'm taking away from this, but also informing the Central Bank of Nigeria. So we need to create more awareness. Of course, and their handles, they have their social media handles where I know that some of these things are being posted, but again, maybe educational series, different things, you know, putting it out there, radio go across all platforms, different languages, which they do, but maybe we have to increase the frequency of that, because it's a continuous thing, it's a continuous exercise, continuous education to be able to address the pain points of the consumers and also the last mile. So because when you have the knowledge and information, you're equipped, so you're able to know what to do. Yeah. That's yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
You are muted, Jumoke.
I was struggling to unmute
Jumoke,
myself.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
I can hear
okay.
you. So I'm so sorry. I was struggling to unmute myself. So let me take Abubakar, Auntie BC, Awuni, and then Abubakar, Yusuf, Abubakar, and then we'll take the last two sets of questions, Clinton and Sadiq. Abubakar, please go ahead.
I think
and
BC
unmute.
is asking to be unmuted. BC?
Yes, we are asking you to unmute. If I was struggling to unmute. Okay, go ahead. We've asked you to unmute.
Good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Well, I'm actually speaking from the point of view of a victim of kidnapping. And unfortunately, it was the POS operators that they used to start the siphoning of money before they started demanding for the bigger ransom of 160 million. Now, and the question is this: why would we have a street, let's say, for example, Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, and you have like 15 banks on that street? Meanwhile, you have close to about 30 POS operators. What exactly are they doing in an area where there is even overpopulation of banks? And meanwhile, when you go to the bank's ATM, we are not saying we want to enter into the bank now, because most of these banks also have on-street ATMs attached to their buildings. When you even go to these branch ATMs, they don't have cash. And you will now have close to about 5 or 6 POS operators just sitting around the entrance of the bank on the road. How do we explain that? Why would we have such number of POS operators if indeed POS operators are supposed to be for the underserved areas? That's my first question. And then the second question is, when you have the bank ATMs not dispensing, and you now enter into the banks, some of the bank personnel tell you they don't have cash, but that you should approach the POS operator on the roadside. Why will that happen? My interpretation or the conclusion I arrived at is that the bank staff actually own those POS operators. So I think there is a need to clear POS operators off certain streets that are not underserved. There's no way anybody will tell me Ikoyi Victoria Island is underserved, or that they will tell me that Wuse or Garki is underserved. No, I would not say they are the underserved. So there's the need to also look into that, please. The other questions, I think I will leave.
Yes, because of
that
time.
has to do exactly. Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Madam
Very
Uche,
deep
thank you
question.
very much for this enlightenment. Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
So, Mr. Abubakar, please go ahead. We've asked you to unmute. Faye, if you can also help unmute so that I think I'm having challenges with my buttons sticking. Mr. Abubakar, are you able to unmute and ask your question? Okay, I think we
I've
lost.
asked you to unmute. Abubakar Sulaiman, I guess.
Abubakar Yusuf Abubakar. Yeah, Abubakar Yusuf Abubakar is the one. I've asked you to unmute again. Abubakar Yusuf Abubakar, if he's unable to, okay, he's able to unmute now. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you for having me. Good evening to you all. My question here is, well, my contribution is with regards to the regulation. You know, there is a lot of shady things going on with the POS, and both commercial banks, the CBN, and the agents are not doing quite much to provide solutions to those kinds of issues. So I will add to their point, to the point of my previous speakers, that my own view here is this regulation of POS and their agents. I think it should be done quarterly or even after every 2 months, because we are looking at population explosion in Nigeria, where you see people, everybody having POS here, there, and there is a lot of criminality across, where most especially here in the north, where both the security agencies and the financial bankers are not doing much to remedy the issue. So I would like the host, that's Mrs. Uche, to tell the banks, the CBN, to be regulating all these laws after every two months. This will give both the users and the POS and the agents the better opportunity to serve their customers. And then my second question here is with regard to the empowerment. You know, when you look at it, the previous government came up with agricultural programs that will empower farmers. But when you look at it, the microfinance bank are not doing much to give money to all these agriculture people in the villages. And this is what that is affecting all these farmers that are in the villages. If they are given much empowerment through commercial banks for them to get fertilizers, seedlings, and what have you, they are going to, you know, it is going to help. It is going to go a long way. But
Thank you for that comment. I
yeah.
think that's now moving into agriculture,
Thank
which is
you.
very important. So we'll look
Yeah,
forward to the
agriculture is
contribution in that
critical,
space.
but nobody is saying anything about it. And our people are there in the villages having poverty, you know,
Yeah.
and then nobody to help them. Government are not saying anything, and then commercial ones are not doing anything, and the microfinance bank are not doing anything. So
Thank you for your time. I appreciate
Thank
your feedback. We are up on time, and I think we lost our guest again. Network issues, but she's been with us for a good hour and a half, and that has been a great conversation. I learned a lot about POS, and I'm sure you guys did too. So we'll make this recording available. It's on our YouTube channel, but maybe while we're waiting for her, I just want to take a couple more announcements, and hopefully she'll be able to join us before we close so that she can address all these questions. I think it's more critical where the speaker we had at the opening session, Mr. Osita Chijoka, said something that has stayed with me. It's like 2026 doesn't exist. It doesn't exist for politicians, and it's like we've gone past it because everyone's eye is on 2027. But 2026,
There are still children that are out of school. There are people that don't have access to medical care. We're still dealing with insecurity in the nation. Our everyday problem is still very much around. But we are the ones that have to make sure that we continuously raise awareness that 2026 is now, 2027 is later. We need our, I have a hard time calling them leaders, but those that are in office, we need them to pay attention to our needs today, what we as Nigerians need to be able to continue to thrive or to try to thrive in this society is very important, and they must not lose sight of that. So that responsibility is on us, whether during their campaign trails, whether it is us having town hall meetings, educating our neighbors and everyone within our sphere of influence, that we have that responsibility to start our own campaign for good governance, for the right set of leaders that would move Nigeria to the next level, to where we need to be. And I've said this again, and I'm going to say it again. I'm very glad that a lot of our youths are here, and we want you to be empowered. We want you to know that the future of Nigeria is in your hands. But you have to be that right leader. You have to be an ethical, responsible, accountable leader that leads with empathy and compassion, that does the right thing for the nation. So we hope that you continue to engage on this platform and through other initiatives, not just at Africa Empowerment Foundation, but other civil society organizations that are focused on good governance and right leadership for the country. We're going to put a link in the chat room for you to engage. Stay engaged. Stay engaged. Educate everyone you can come across by first educate yourself. Take responsibility for the progress of this nation. It's in your hands, it's in my hands, and I hope that we'll continue to do good for us. I met a young man on the streets, and they were asking for like 1,000 naira for me to park on the streets of Lagos, and I said, which local government is this 1,000 naira going to? Because I would like to know so that I can acknowledge. He says, well, no, ma, it's not going to a local government. So I said, who is this? Who is collecting this? And he said, I'm going to be very honest with you. We are the ones collecting it. I said, but this is a government street. And it was a teachable moment. And I took time to explain to him that we can't continue to do this. He shouldn't be on the street waiting for 1,000 naira for me to park car on government street, and they should hold their community, their chairman accountable, ask questions. Why is a grown man begging for 1,000 naira for me to park? These are the things that we as Nigerian citizens must do. We must continue to educate each other. We must continue to raise that awareness. Otherwise, this cycle of stranglehold will not break. We are the ones that will break it by educating ourselves, educating each other, and holding each other accountable, but most importantly, holding those that call themselves leaders accountable. So we meet here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Nigerian time. Same Zoom link, just a different topic. And we have a lot of initiatives at Africa Empowerment Foundation. Coming up very soon is the Youth Leadership Development Program, which is a program we put together to train our youths to hold office at the local government level, whether they want to hold office or they just even want to be public servants. It's about a 16-week program that we're offering for free because we believe in our youths. That's how much we believe in our youths. And we're very excited that we got 8,301 responses back, and we are hoping that you all stay engaged. If we continue to build this critical mass, if 8,000 now educates another 8,000, 16,000, that pyramid effect, then the message for good governance and right leadership
will get along. So we are all ambassadors for good governance and right leadership. And please take it very, very seriously. I want to thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, I believe our guest is unable to join us. I don't see her back in. Faye, can you check if she's coming back?
Yeah, she's having network issues.
Yes. So we are going to also share her contact information for those that are interested in learning more about this. If you think this is a source of empowerment for you, we are also hoping that we can engage her in subsequent conversation about citizens' education and awareness, because a lot of the questions you brought up, especially Ms. Awoniyi, about it being a tool for money laundering and things like that, we would like to follow up and see how we can also help share information about what is going on. So again, thank you all for coming. We have a link. If you could I don't know if you have the link to our interest form for those that are interested in engaging more with Africa Empowerment Foundation. We do business as ALG. We are also called the Africa Leadership Group. Please complete that form and we'll be in touch with you. Do not wait for the Zoom link. It's the same Zoom link every Thursday at 5 p.m. And apologies from our principal. He's on the road. He's traveling at the moment, but I'm sure he sends his warmest greetings and will be with you again next week. So over to you, Pastor Sonny, if you have any other things to share before we close. And thank everyone for joining. Thank you, Mr. Stephen, for connecting us with our guest speaker this evening.
Nothing, go ahead, just close.
Okay. Professor Otomi, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Good to have you here, and we hope that we can indeed wrestle the soul of Nigeria from the stranglehold it's in now. So I just posted the form in the chat room. Please go ahead and fill that form, and we will definitely respond to you on how you can be engaged. Have a good evening, and we hope to see you again here at 5 p.m. Nigerian time, same Zoom link. God bless you. Thank you.